See how rusty it was? Somebody had bondoed it up before. You see how rusty it was down in the inside of it. Around the outside edge, we're up here in the front, next to the wheelhouse. Unfortunately, these new panels that they made, you can see right in here the curve's not real distinctive. So I'm going to try to keep the original down as far as I can where we get back into this area where it's real good. And this is going to end up, we're going to end up cutting this down here somewhere right above that subtle line.
What do you do about something like this if you're going to have to use it? Like shit.
Hammer and dolly it and get that line a little crisper, and I will on this anyway. Cheap.
How much is
The
it?
patch panels are $29 a piece for these pieces. And trunk drop-offs. Piece here, they're not very much. They're $18 or something. And then the wheelhouse, those was $35 or $40 a piece. You could have bought the patch panel. You could buy that for an early '65-6 Mustang. A little cheaper, but yeah. It was just trimmed off the bad area. I got to trim it up some more. This car had been hit in the back, so it was full of Bondo. Didn't realize that till we started taking it apart. But these new panels don't come with the lip that folds up around the back of this, and we had to cut all that out.
How do you fix that?
I'm gonna make a patch for it. I'm gonna get the quarter patch fit, and get that trunk drop off fit, and then the front wheelhouse. We got to put a patch in it up here for the outer wheelhouse. So I'll get all that fit in there, and then I'll just make a piece for this corner. This is the back. I'll cut this off right here, and same way with the trunk drop off. This panel here, I'm fixing to cut it off. And, typically I'd use a spot weld cutter on this, but when I weld this back together, I'm going to weld it from this side, which I'll need the holes in the tab to plug weld it back together with. So. Scraper that I use. I was separating the panels. I just drilled a couple more spot welds out back up here in the corner like we did here to loosen this panel up so I can trim it off and get it out of the way. See, now we got the flange still there from this panel that our new panel will weld to.
How much overlap do you do on the two panels when you weld them?
I usually try to do a 1/4 inch. Makes it come out the nicest, but
Actually, these are in pretty good shape, aren't they?
yeah, the rest of it's all in good shape. Frame rails and everything. Usually the frame rails are rusted right here. Wherever I trim this at up here, when I weld it on there, it's going to be hanging too far down here at the bottom, and then I'll just trim the bottom of it up, which makes sense anyway because they had this hole off, which that's for your wire for your backup lights. If your car had backup lights, then there was a wire that run through there with a big plug. This panel's made a little long so you can trim it up. So, but you can see how these are off. They're not even in the same spot or anything, which is it's not critical. That's just a stiffening brace to make the panel stiffener. Huh. This is actually going to go up underneath there. I got one spot weld to cut out right there. But what makes it strong is 1,000,000 of them spot welds. You know, all the panels are spot welded together, and see, and I cleaned that up with a Scotch-Brite pad. You can see the spot weld there now. Couldn't see it before. Can you see that little dimple in it right there with the paint still left in it?
Yep.
Let's take a center punch. See there, getting up in that tight corner. Couldn't do it with that big round blade. But you take one that's wore out that you couldn't use for anything else, and I save them. Actually, make some new ones now. We'll buy some that are self-adjusting. You don't have to turn the knob. If you're clamping them on a 1-inch thick piece of metal or a 1/4-inch thick piece of metal, they adjust themselves. All right. Now, after I weld that on, and then you look up here on the back side, see our seam's going to be right there where it rolls down over the edge, and it's going to be hidden. You won't be able to see it. You know what I mean? I'll actually weld it on this side, solid all the way across. And then you're not going to see it from inside the trunk either. We'll grind a weld down, and we won't have to do no fancy cleaning up or nothing on it, because you're not getting that old undercoating off of this. It's easy to get to, and
There.
just clean up the surface, get all the imperfections, dirt, little rust starting on it. Get it all cleaned up, and then
Cleaner on there.
brake cleaners. Dries, leaves no residue. Use lacquer thinner and get two coats on it.
It's exclusive on demand and limited release. It's a big question. Not reservation. Don't miss this. Piece of American history.
All